Nothing makes my blood boil more than hearing the phrase selling options for income. Gentlemen, you ready to do some finance this morning?
No,
so this morning's piece, let's do it. Beth, hit us on the title slide here. So I didn't know what was going to happen this morning. Nobody knew what was going to happen this morning, obviously. But this morning, man, it's a bit serendipitous that we're actually doing this piece here right now because we're going to talk about a world of nonlinearity. Gentlemen, we live in a world of nonlinear things, as we're going to talk about this morning, and nothing is more nonlinear, I should say, than this morning's E-midi S&P's 5-minute candle. Whenever that was what, 7:30, 7:35, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so, Beth, go ahead and kick us on the intro slide here. So it is very common for mathematical models to assume a linear relationship between the variables in question. And this makes sense because our minds naturally think in linear terms. And this assumption makes for easier implementation into the world around us. However, as anyone who has traded for more than a few days knows, market expectations and our results frequently operate on a non-linear scale. Gentlemen, have you trained your minds in the world of options and in the world of trading to expect things to be bumpy and nonlinear from day to day?
100%.
Not only expect, but accept.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's one of the hardest, everybody kind of tries to game plan or like, journal trading. There's once you've done this for enough time, you understand that days like today are going to happen. And there's going to be wildness and things just don't always play out. When they do, when they play out exactly how you expect, it's like it's a great feeling. But it's not what you don't expect that to be the case. Even if it's a 70 or 80% probability of success, my expectation when I put on a trade is I'm going to start losing money on this the moment I put this trade on. Like that's what I expect from markets. There's no paycheck. There's no easy trade in anything ever.
Yeah, I like the nonlinear stuff when it doesn't necessarily make sense to everybody. I think that's when there's real opportunity.
For sure.
That's right. That's 100% right. And that's exactly right. And that's why when you think about, like, when you're trading, like, one of the most important things you need to kind of nail down is like, all right, what is my plan for the next couple steps down the pathway here? Like, okay, I'm doing all these things on trade entry, but if X happens, how am I going to respond? If Y happens, how am I going to respond? Because sometimes it is a straight, easy journey. That does happen here and there, but that is not going to happen every single time. And this morning is a perfect example of that. And so, if the listeners and the viewers this morning can take anything away from this morning's piece, I would take this away. Before you put a trade on, you've got to think through, go through some mental exercises of, all right, if X happens, how am I going to respond? If Y happens, how am I going to respond? Because X and Y, sometimes they're smooth and sometimes they're calm, and then sometimes they're like this morning. And so they're very, very bumpy.
For sure. I think
so.
Yeah, go
ahead.
on.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, planning is one thing. You got to have a little bit of flexibility too. And you got to have, there's a risk tolerance that goes into it as well. And just understanding that, the whole game of trading is the variable of the unknown thing, right? So like nobody has the crystal ball into the future of where prices will be, what volatility will be, et cetera. You have to have a comfortability with that sort of variable. And this is an example of that.
That's exactly right. All right. So this morning, I want to go through 3 specific kind of examples of the nonlinearity that we're trading every single day. I think the last one is the one that I really want people to remember. So number 1, theta decay, right? I mean, this is what we do. This is what we sell. I mean, the premium, it's nonlinear. And I mean, that's what we in at 45, out at 21. I mean, that's where kind of all that comes from. And so when you think about the extrinsic value dropping off day by day and getting smaller and smaller as you get closer to expiration, that relationship from trade entry to trade exit is not going to be linear. And this is obviously a very classic graph. We've all seen this. Anyone who's traded for a little while has seen this graph, looking at the decay curve for different states of moneyness. So in the money, out of the money, and at the money. And, I would draw everyone's attention to the blue curve because that's the out of the money curve. And if you look at that curve, you can kind of see why we like to get in around 45 and out around 21. You can maybe hang into maybe 14 or so, and it's not really that big of a difference. But clearly, hanging on to expiration is not going to make that much sense, because look at how the blue curve slope really flattens out right before expiration. You're just not getting paid for taking the risk like you were in that meaty portion of the decay curve. So let's say 45 to 21. And so, but you can clearly see it's not a straight line. It's not a straight line from one day to the next. The decay and the extrinsic value dissipation is not going to be linear from entry to exit.
100%. Totally agree.
I mean, this is it. I mean, this is what we do, right? This is what we sell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a hard one to get comfortable with, because everybody, and when you think about theta decay, the definition of it is the rate of decay of an options price given a 1-day passage of time. So if 1 day passes and my theta decay is $10 and I'm not making $10, the question is what gives? And you get that question all the time. And that's kind of the hardest thing about trading is like, you can plan for all these things. It's not necessarily a given that it happens every day. It's just what we're looking at right now. This very moment, this very second in markets, your theta decay is $10. In the next 10 minutes, that theta decay can go to $2. Like that is markets. Markets change and are dynamic, and things change, volatility changes, prices change, etc.
That's right. That's right. Jamal, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is the reason why we do it. Like you said, just to be able to see how Theta comes in so much that's why we look to sell for this particular reason.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. And it's funny, Nick, what you brought up though, the $10, the $10 a day. And it's like, all right, a day passed. Why didn't I make $10? Well, you did make $10. And so that's actually a separate discussion. That's kind of a tangent off of this.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you did make that. But don't forget, you've also got Delta in the mix. You've also got Vega in the mix. You've also got Trump tweets in the mix.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the only thing that's happening. So that's a separate thing, but that's a really, really, really good point.
But I think that goes to like what a new trader or somebody that hasn't been trading a long time, kind of the feeling they experience is like, I wrote down all these numbers yesterday. I had theta of this, and volatility's come in and 1 day passed and I add everything up and I'm not making what I should be making. And that's something that is hard to like comprehend. It's like I'm supposed to be getting this and I'm only getting that.
That was actually one of the hardest things that we used to do when I was learning at a prop firm was like, go through something and look and tell us how you made money or lost money, right? Like, was it Vega? Was it Theta? What was the reason? Was it Gamma? Like all of that. That was actually one of the hardest exercises to do, but one of the best exercises to do because you learn so much.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah. Actually, Jamal, I love that. And I would actually encourage all the traders out there, if you've never done this, right? Because the three primary movers for P&L are always going to be Delta, Theta, and Vega.
Yes.
Yeah, there's Rho and dividends, but those are the main chunks, right? I would actually encourage everybody out there to do exactly what Jamal had to do early on in his career, because you can actually do it. If you look at a move for a given day, right? Piece out how much of the P&L change was from Delta, because you can kind of figure that out. Again, Delta's dynamic, it changes, so it's not going to be exact, but you'll get pretty close. Mm-hmm. What was my theta at the beginning of the day? You can piece that out too. And then the missing piece that's oftentimes harder to figure out is the volatility impact on P&L. Man, it's so eye-opening, Jamal, just like you shared. It's a very, very good exercise, I think, for new traders.
Big time, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Beth, hit us on the next slide. Okay, so what is the next nonlinear aspect of what we do every day? Well, the directional moves, right? The directional, obviously this morning is a perfect example of that, but what I'm talking about here on the slide is the gamma risk when you get close to expiration, right? Like, so here are three curves of gamma relative to, moneyness at various DTEs and points in the expiration cycle. So 1 week, 1 month, and 3 months. So it's very obvious to see that the longer duration you have, the smoother the gamma that you have in that position. And remember, gamma is going to be the second derivative of direction. So it's essentially, how does delta move when price changes? So it's like another layer of directional risk. Delta is kind of the first layer and gamma is the second layer. The way I like to describe it to people is delta is like speed and gamma is like acceleration. Like if you think about driving a car, like that's probably the easiest way to understand the two different metrics. But it's very obvious to see that when you get close to expiration, so even just 1 week, and of course in the final days it's even more than this, your directional moves are going to be very nonlinear in nature. Like you are engaging front and center with the convexity in the marketplace, especially in the derivatives market. And so this is why, again, you pair this up with the previous slide. It's like, this is why we like to get out before expiration. 21, 14, whatever it is, it's got to be get yourself out of that trade before A, you're not getting paid for the decay, which we saw on the previous slide. And B, if the direction goes against you, which nobody knows what's going to happen, it certainly can happen, then, man, you're going to be in the hurt locker real quick, like real quick. And so this is the second piece of nonlinearity, the directional aspect.
And this is another reason that if you're looking for a way to reduce that kind of variance of like, oh, why didn't I see the results that I calculated and I went through all the, my theta, my volatility exposure, all that stuff. Reducing and managing positions as time passes is going to get you to that tighter expected range of P&L. When you're holding positions to 1 week or 1 day, the what gives question becomes even wider of a distribution. I'm losing $500 today. What gives? I was supposed to be making $50. That's at 1 week to go till expiration. The question, the emails of I'm losing 100, I'm supposed to be making 50 are at 21 days. So when you get to that 1 week time frame, expect everything to get even more hard to quantify when you're digging into the weeds of every little nook and cranny of your portfolio.
I mean, yeah. I love the fact that Jim is out here dropping knowledge, not only on options, but also on physics too. Speed and acceleration. I caught you, Jim. I love that. That's what I'm here for. The other thing about this too, though, the gamma, man, I think, again, you could make a case about this is a reason why a lot of people like 0DTE, right? The gamma, because of that, right? This is why a lot of people, as we were talking last week with research about the idea of how many people probably trade gamma and the way that they trade it, this is why this chart shows you.
It's good when it goes your way.
And that's the thing, right?
Yeah, it's good when it goes your way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you want to take a shot in a 0DT or whatever and be on the long side, like fine, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Just understand what the game that you're playing and understand you're all in on direction. Time's not going to help you. Volatility might help you a little bit, but it's a totally different game to play. And again, that's a separate discussion. For sure. We'll have to have that at some point in the future. And so, Beth, hit us on the next slide, though. So this is the one that I really want, and this is kind of how we kicked off the discussion this morning. Our results are going to be nonlinear. And so if you look at this graph, right, and it's our portfolio, essentially our portfolio P&L or Netflix over time, everybody wants the yellow line. That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants the paycheck, the selling options for income. I mean, nothing makes my blood boil more than hearing the phrase selling options for income. But that is absolutely a separate discussion for another time. Everybody wants the yellow line, right? But what you're going to get is you're going to get all the blue dots. That's just the game you are playing. Like, that is what you are signing up for. And that can be very eye-opening to people. Because, again, they think, I'm going to sell this iron condor. I'm going to sell these puts, whatever. It's so far out of the money. There's no way it's going to get there. I'm just going to kick my feet up on the desk, collect my paycheck. I'm going to watch the Sweet 16, and everything's going to be amazing. And it's like, man, you get that first tweet that drops on your desk, and all of a sudden, your iron condor is in the money after being live for 4 hours. It's like, how did this happen? That's all very normal. That's all very normal. And so there's no way, if you're a brand new trader out there, and I would love to get y'all's take on this. For the brand new traders out there, you're seeing this slide, you're hearing me say this, it's still not going to register.
No.
I know that it's not. It doesn't register until you're in the arena and you're actually feeling the weight of the experience and all of the emotions and everything that comes along with it. Hopefully this slide you can file it away in the back of your mind somewhere. But man, this is one of those things. Everybody has to learn it for themselves. It cannot be taught. A YouTube video, a podcast is not going to get you there. You got to experience it.
I'll say this, the yellow line, when people ask us all the time who find out we're traders and we're in this market and things that we do, they're like, tell me what I need to do to make money. And they're asking us about the yellow line.
Yeah.
And our response from now, we need to just carry this chart around with us.
Yes.
Because we'd be like, this is really what happens. These dots, this is really what happens. This is what you really need to know. Yeah. So we can tell you, but this is what really happens.
Totally.
That's right.
Couldn't have said it better.
And the irony of it, though, is the way I constructed this graph, that yellow line is actually a regression of the blue dots. So the yellow line is what you end up with. I mean, hopefully in the end, there's no guarantees, obviously, all that kind of stuff, right? But it actually is. There is a connection point here. The yellow line is a regression of the blue dots. So there is a connection, but it's just not day in and day out that you just you're making the same amount of money. It's all strawberries and sunshine and you never get hurt. It's not that at all. You have to be ready. You got to have a plan, and it's going to be scattered. It's going to be very nonlinear.
100%.
Yeah.
Well said.
All right, let's get him a few takeaways. Man, we got to get him to a market measures. Man, great discussion this morning. Normally, when we think about any variables changing over time, we gravitate towards a linear relationship in our minds. But most of human behavior and market results actually operate on a nonlinear scale, just as we see with premium decay, positional direction, and our overall portfolio results.
Well said, Dr. Jim. That was a great one, everybody.
I appreciate you. And Jamal, you were asking me before we went live on air if I was going to compete in the Florida Man games pretty soon. And I'll tell you this, I'll think about it, but only if the official uniform, it has to be socks and slides. If it's not socks and slides, I'm out. But if it is, I think I'm in.
I don't think there was any official uniform at all.
There was no
wear whatever you want.
You could go.
Now nothing says Florida like that right there. Let's go.
Cut off tee.
We had a guy in a Speedo running from the car.
Jorts, no doubt.
Yeah.
Slides, no problem.
Let's go.
Thank you, Dr. Jim.